is always good to have one person. All right, guys, welcome to live review number 16. And today we're doing something a little bit different. We'll see how it goes. I mean, it does say versus, but I don't know if we will end up comparing it. But because they're two very similar beers, obviously, and on many levels, I thought it'd be a good idea to just try them both. Both beers, of course, we've both tried. And I'd say one of them is probably one that we've both drunk a little bit more than the other one, just because of how available it is. But yeah, so today we're looking at two examples of probably my favourite sub-style of IPA, to be honest, which is the grapefruit-infused one. And both beers come from Scotland. And the first one is the Belhaven. These guys are based out of Dunbar. And of course, I think one thing that stops a lot of people even attempting this beer is the fact that they're a Greene King owned brand, which I don't know about you, but that never really factors into purchases or preferences on beer.
No, I'm not pushed by it. Okay, they're owned by Greene King, and
yeah,
it don't matter really. It don't matter. They make some steady beers. We both. Have you reviewed this one, Peter?
I've recorded a review, but I haven't uploaded it yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a steady beer. It's going to be interesting to see how it tastes off alongside the Elvis juice. But yeah, it's a decent beer. No complaints with it, and I'm not too sure on the technicalities of Greene King. Actually, they own the brewery, but is it a case of we hear so often a big brewery buying out a smaller brewery, but letting them get on with it? I don't know about this beer, if they're just allowed to get on with it or not.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about what the relationship they've got. I mean, according to the can, Belhaven have been going since 1719. So it's not as if it was like one of these breweries that is up and coming, then gets snatched up by them. So, Greene King must have seen something in them. And I don't know how popular the brewery is now or used to be prior to it. But, there could be circumstances for the brewery where it led to them being bought out, or maybe they just thought, they got offered, take it. But I'm not too sure who else Greene King own though. If you've got any ideas of other breweries they've got,
there is quite a few breweries that they own, but I mean, there's that Craft Academy thing that they've got going. I know Craig's reviewed some of their beers as well. That's like a little side project thing, decent beers again.
Yeah.
No complaints with the ones that I've had. But I'm sure there's some breweries around. There might be another Scottish brewery as well that they own.
Okay.
I might be just guessing now. I'm not too sure on that one.
Yeah, they should have done a bit more research into it before we went on. I mean, I've got the classic scores that we'll have a look at later on. But it's an interesting one. I've yet to try anything else from the Belhaven Brewery. But yeah, they from what I remember, I mean, I only drank it for the first time about a month or so ago. As someone, well, we'll get into details on review, but as someone who likes this style of beer, I think I'll always have a sort of bias to it, and I'll be a little bit more, not sympathetic, but I'll be a bit easier on the style because it's just one of my favourite sub styles of.
Yeah, it really does work, doesn't it? With the IPA, putting that grapefruit in, it does work. And I know it's not everyone's bag. I dig it. I do dig it in an IPA. I think it's a nice strong flavour. It's bold and it stands out well. Just seeing the ABV difference. 5.3, 6.5.
Yeah, it's an intriguing one. And of course, I think this beer really needs no introduction, although it could have to have a new introduction depending on what they do with the whole name and stuff. And this is, of course, Brewdog's Elvis Juice, which is their grapefruit-infused IPA, and as Dean said, 6.5%. I think this started off as one of their prototype series, didn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard that they could be replacing this one with the tangerine IPA that they did recently as part of a prototype.
Yeah, that was in a set of 3, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've reviewed that, and it's a fantastic beer. I don't think it's going to be replacing this beer because, again, you've got a tangerine IPA, and then you've got this grapefruit IPA. I think they're going to keep the grapefruit format, but just obviously change the name. Don't think that tangerine's. I think it's just a new addition to the core range, not a replacement.
Yeah, I'd like to think that they'd keep the Elvis Juice. I think it's a popular enough beer in the core lineup.
Mm. It's an excellent go-to beer as well because available in most supermarkets. Still get it in bottle form and singles. And is it 4-packs or 6-packs?
I got mine in a 4-pack. Don't think I've seen it in 6-packs. I know you can also get it in the boxes that they do where you get, is it 4 of each of the main core beers. So it's one that you'd have to. The only way you'd miss out on this beer is if the place that you shopped just didn't have it in stock or temporarily out of stock. Because I think most places have this now. And I've seen it sometimes when it's been on offer for about £4 up until about £7. So that price range on either end is pretty damn good for 4 cans of craft beer.
For me, it's coming in the cheapest for me. I paid 99p for it.
Oof, nice.
The Belhaven I got from Tesco's. Is it 160? Something like that?
I think so, yeah. I think I paid roughly that. I got mine in that free for, is it £5.25 deal or something like that? That they do. Which I've noticed sometimes it doesn't always add up, depending on what beers you have when you do those deals. But for the most part, it's always a little bit cheaper.
Hence, isn't it, really, when you factor it in?
Yeah.
On some of the beers, yeah.
So before we get into this one, I'll quickly read the comments so far. So we've got Craig from Kent Beer Reviews who says, "Hi fellas." All right, Craig.
You all right, mate?
We've got Average Joe says, "Beer showdown. Nice to be able to catch this live. If only I was there to read the comments for you, Peter." Yeah, that's something that I still need to work on, is keeping up to date with the comments. Then, of course, Craig found that absolutely fucking hilarious. But, oh well. And then Average Joe, "Oh no, Greene King, let's never buy their stuff." Is that the UK equivalent of not buying anything from AB InBev or not as big? I don't think they're as big as AB InBev, but the way people talk about them, you'd think that they were almost worse. Sometimes
they don't even touch the size, do they, compared to InBev?
No. I think they do. They, I think they do better at the actual pub sort of game, owning pubs and having the tap space.
Oh, they've got the pub market completely sewn up.
Oh yeah.
Okay, without a doubt, there's just pubs everywhere. One of the jobs that I do, we used to deliver to their pubs. We don't anymore. We lost the contract, but I mean, Bury St Edmunds and Cambridge way. I mean, Cambridge. I think they've got just in that city alone, they've got about 70 pubs.
Jesus.
Complete monopoly on that city, and then the rest of it. They're everywhere, aren't they? Literally everywhere.
Yeah.
So they seem to be doing something right.
Yeah, or else people wouldn't continue to buy their beer or go to their pubs, and especially in this what's the word, environment now, where people are a bit more conscious about what they buy and who they support and things. It's not just a case of, oh, we'll go to this pub. A lot of people are now thinking, oh, well, let's try this pub because they might, they've got this, and this, and you sometimes see the name above the actual name of the pub to see who owns it, and then you get sort of an idea of what to expect a lot of the time.
Yeah. It's things like that don't really bother me,
Yeah.
I just want a cheap pint, It's not going to be ram-packed with flavour, but I know that when I'm buying it, it's not about analysing beers sometimes, is it? It's just about just drinking them.
No, it's just about sitting back, enjoying them, enjoying the company.
Yeah.
And I'll quickly wrap up these few comments. So Thomas McCarthy says hi. All right, Thomas.
Hello.
How you doing, my friend? And then Mark Elliott. Hi, Peter and Dean. I've still got a bottle of Elvis juice in the garage and yet to try it. I didn't like the Belhaven one, which was no surprise as I found all Greene King stuff underwhelming. Perfectly understandable. I mean, I have had my share of some beers from Greene King.
Yeah.
And then, which by the way, hello, Mark. And last couple of comments. LOL from Joe. I didn't mean big in terms of size. I meant big in terms of how people complain about them. I realise that AB Bev is the biggest beer conglomerate in the world. Yeah. But you do find similarities in the opinions, especially on some specific Facebook groups, but we don't like to mention those people. And then Mark says, Craig, cheers, Craig. Recently subscribed to your channel. Keep up the good work. So, I'll keep updated with the comments as regularly as I can, but I think it's about time that we got these beers opened. You want to do them one at a time or just get them both opened at the same time?
When you call the shots?
Let's just do them both at the same time.
Yeah.
Just because it's easier. Oh, that was a bit tough. Of course, being a Brewdog related review, I've got to have the Brewdog t-shirt and a Brewdog glass. But I'm not a fanboy.
Well, Johnny on the glassware, I haven't got the t-shirt.
To be fair, I think it's the only... I've only got like 2 beer-related t-shirts now. It's funny that, isn't it? You know, people usually buy like t-shirts of the favourite band and stuff like that, but so many people are like buying t-shirts of the favourite breweries and beers. It's fascinating culture if you were to sit down and think about it.
Right.
Well, beer in the glass then. I'd say that the Brewdog, the Elvis juice, is a little bit darker, but there's really not much in it.
There's not a lot in it at all.
No. Both pretty much have the same clarity.
Yeah, on mine, I'd probably say that the Belhaven's got a bit more of a shine to it than just.
Yeah. And out of the two, again, there's really nothing in it with these comparisons, but the Belhaven's just a little bit more active in my glass than the Brewdog, and both beers poured with pretty much not even half a finger's worth of I don't know, maybe ever so slightly off-white head.
Yeah, I've just got a bit more head on the Belhaven and just a lacing on the Elvis juice. They're both off-white.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to just see them both sat down, you'd think they were almost the same beer, to be honest. I'd say that the Belhaven has a bit more of a stronger aroma to it and then a little bit more sweeter.
Yeah, it's more of
It's got that slightly synthetic almost smell to it.
like a kid's carton of grapefruit juice, and then the Elvis juice is more breakfast juice, you know, out of a carton.
Yeah.
Out of a chiller.
You get that sort of like slight bitterness more from the Elvis juice than the other one. But the Belhaven for me is just really
full on sweetness of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
That, like you say, that artificial synthetic. I mean, it does smell nice, but
both of them smell absolutely wonderful. Let's just see if I can find any ingredients for this, because I think they do use flavouring as well as the Belhaven is India Pale Ale with grapefruit and grapefruit flavouring, and I think you can definitely pick that up, but it's not like overwhelmingly sweet. But yeah, both of them smell absolutely fantastic. Can't fault
no complaints on
them at all.
No.
So let's try the Belhaven. Yeah, definitely not a massive sweetness, but a noticeable sweetness.
Yeah, there's lovely sweetness in there. You do get that. Yeah, you do pick that grapefruit up in there, don't you?
Oh yeah, it starts off like grapefruit flavoured, but then once that's subsided, the actual grapefruit itself does come out a little bit more. So it's not like completely like you're eating a jelly sweet or. I will say though, and I don't know if you get this from some Greene King beers, a little bit thin.
Yeah. Yeah, it has got that thinness to it. I'm not getting the 5.3.
No, definitely not. So drinkable.
Yeah, very drinkable. A little bit of bitterness on the finish, but vague.
Yeah. I don't know, it's almost got like a very slight spice kick to it. I don't know if you're picking that up, just like as if it's got like maybe just like a hint of pepper in it, but
White pepper spice, yeah.
yeah.
I see where you're coming from.
Just like a dusting of something like that. And mixing them with that slight hoppy finish with the grapefruit finish, very subtle earthiness.
I've got an oiliness on my lips from it. Sweetness. Yeah, that sweetness is coming through a little bit more now. I'm getting down it.
Yeah, it seems to like come back with a little bit of a vengeance the more you're drinking it. But it's still a nice little beer though.
Yeah, it's all right.
So then,
This now. See what's
yeah, the daddy. Cheers. Yeah, it's. I think we should. Yeah, I think we should say now that we just should not make too many comparisons between the two beers because this is it just from that first sip.
Yeah,
There's like just a very subtle sweetness. I mean, it's still got like that because sometimes you can get grapefruit where it's just pure bitterness, like no flavor aside from bitterness. But that's lovely. That's I don't know. It's just you take that first sip of it after you've drank another one, and you could just you could just notice it straight away.
It's got the grapefruit that's in it. It just stands out more. It's more in your face, but not too much. Yeah, a little bit of sweetness in there, just to, like you say, it just takes that edge off the bitterness. There is a little bit of bitterness in there, but that little bit of sweetness just slightly.
It's got a bit more of a bolder mouthfeel to it as well. I mean, it's still not a heavy beer by any stretch, but there's just you don't get like that wateriness that you get towards the back end of the Belhaven. And I'd say it's a little bit more carbonated than the Belhaven as well. Even though I said I wouldn't be making comparisons, but I don't know. I think you've got to, haven't you, when you do a video like this?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it's like that grapefruit juice, and I think you hit the nail on the head when you said the Belhaven's like the kid friendly juice where there's a bit more sweetness, less harshness of the bitterness.
Yeah.
But this is like you've actually got like a proper grapefruit juice, even freshly squeezed. and you've really added nothing to it, any preservatives.
Yeah, it's gone in. There's more of a pureness about it, isn't there? The Elvis juice. There's no sort of gerrymandering with additives and all that bollocks.
And it's a shame because I don't get what adding the grapefruit flavouring. Like, I just think it works against, because it's, even if you didn't read the back of the label, you could tell that it's like an added flavour as opposed to just depending on the grapefruits. And I see beers like that and I think, why? I mean, it might be to cut corners and things like that, but if you're buying the grapefruits to put into the beer, then
mission accomplished, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why go that little bit extra and put the additives in as well? It doesn't really make sense, does it?
No.
Unless they're, I mean, I don't know what the ratios are on it when it comes to grapefruits being added, but the Belhaven one, they've listed grapefruit and grapefruit additives. So to me, that says, okay, yeah, they're using fresh grapefruit, but the quantities are really sort of cut back, opposed to the Brewdog beer, where they've gone all out on grapefruit. They haven't skimped and scraped on the grapefruit, have they? It's full on. Yeah,
they've just gone, bam, put all that grapefruit in. And it'd be interesting to see if there are even like dependable homebrew recipes for both of them, or like the equivalent of homebrew recipes, so you can get a little bit more of an idea of the stuff that went into it. But I don't know, there's really not too many. I mean, there's not really anything I could pick apart too badly with the Belhaven, but I could definitely not pick out any, or hardly any, faults with the Brewdog one.
I mean, I think if we were just doing a live review of the Belhaven, we'd go through all the procedures of trying to analyse it as best as we can, and I think we'd come out at the end of it saying, yeah, it's okay, which it is. It's an okay beer.
Yeah.
But in this situation now, sitting it alongside the Elvis juice, it's sort of, that's a beer up, because that's unfair, but there is big differences, and clearly, they're clearly come through.
I mean, I kind of knew that going into it, but I was still interested to see if, when you had them next to each other, just to see. Yeah. I mean, it makes perfect sense to compare two beers like this, because in Tesco's, you've got both of them. Maybe some other supermarkets would also stock both of them as opposed to either or. So, they're both easy to get hold of in the same place. Price-wise, I'd say probably, because you can only really buy the cans, at least, I've found, in the multi-packs. And I think the bottles are usually about £1.40 or in that ballpark.
Yeah. Definitely less than £2 a bottle.
Yeah. So price range, it's probably just pennies difference. And they're both Scottish beers, and it's like two, even though some people will say that Brewdog aren't really craft anymore. It's like two of the same beers, but from opposite sides of the spectrum from one place. And I think it's an interesting little exercise to compare, like try these beers separately. and also together.
Mm.
But yeah, both
I
beers.
think someone that's coming from drinking multi real ales and wants to try something a little bit different. I might be wrong. It's just an opinion. I may as well air it. The Brewdog beer might come across too bitter for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the palate, it could, because it has got a bitterness to it. There's no doubt about it. And that might be off-putting for someone that's just, real ale, multi-ready, no hoppiness, no bitterness sort of thing. The Belhaven might appeal more to them sort of guys moving over maybe, or experimenting, because of that sweetness that's in it. But it does make it.
It's a bit more accessible than the Brewdog one, I'd say.
Yeah. But where my palate is at the moment now, the Elvis juice is more pleasing for me.
Yeah, same here. I don't know. There's just something about it. I mean, it's not the most complex beer in the world. It's really just simple. It's just a quality-based IPA, but they've just added grapefruit to it because, like you were saying, it's a perfect marriage, because when you drink an IPA, what's one of the first flavors that you pick out? Grapefruit.
Grapefruit, yeah. There's no you pick it up. Okay, it's got all the usual, what we've come to, some love, some hate, all the Brewdog spiel on the cans and stuff. But at the end of the day, it says grapefruit-infused IPA, and that is what you get.
Yeah. If you were expecting anything different, then, well, don't know what you would expect, but I think, especially in this climate where, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love these New England, like, fruit bowl, haze bomb sorts of IPAs. But I think it's great that there's a beer like this that's widely available, and to me, it stands up with, just for pure enjoyment factor, to a lot of the more, like, the smaller craft brewery IPAs that have got all this big acclaim and things like that. And for around £6 for 4 cans of it.
Can't knock it.
Yeah. Did you ever try this when it was in the prototype?
I don't think it's no. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I don't think I've actually had any of the prototype beers that they've done.
I think picking this Elvis juice up and putting it back down, and I'm just forgetting about the
the Belhaven. I'm drinking it now, and it sort of reminds me of the. I can never remember which brand it is, but it's either Quality Street or Roses, and it's one of those. It's one of the chocolates where you've got the. It's not really jelly, but it's more like a fruit cream, syrupy sort of flavor.
Yeah.
I sort of get that flavor when I drink a grapefruit beer anyway, because the malts mixing with that grapefruit flavor almost had this slightly chocolatey covered, like fruit covered chocolate thing.
Yeah.
But with the flavorings that have been added to the Belhaven, it tastes a lot more like that, which is, it's quite an appealing flavor. And I'm not really one of these people who'll put a beer down because it might have a certain additional ingredient added to it. But this just, I don't know, that slight syntheticness, it sort of works for the beer if you were in the mood for it. But after drinking the two, I think I'd be much more comfortable drinking a 4-pack of the Elvis juice in a sort of session as opposed to the Belhaven, because it would just get a little bit too sweet after a couple of cans, I'd find.
It would. Yeah, bang on there, mate. Yeah, I could drink the Elvis juice. It's just, even though it's not a session beer,
Yeah,
but you could session the hell out of it.
Rarely could. That is it. 6.5%.
It's just got that.
It's just
It's
so
got that drink factor to it.
that it's just masked ridiculously.
And yeah, the Belhaven, one can. I think I'll be done with it. It just too much sweetness to just session this. Or even have a pint of it. I think that may be too much. I could have a pint of Elvis juice, not a problem. But this, it'd be a bit too much on the sweetness level.
Yeah, you get halfway through it and you're like, yeah, I'm going to take my time with the rest of this. But well, I think it's unanimous what we think of which one is the better of the two. But I think both have got, well, it's like any beer really. They've got the place, they've got their audience. But at the same time, the same person can enjoy both of them. There's nothing too drastically different aside from that flavouring aspect to it.
Fruity foreplay.
Fruity foreplay. Is that on the bottom of the Brewdog? I got liquid power ballad.
Quality.
So I like those touches. Actually, let me see what the best before dates on mine are. 16th of the 9th, 2018 on the Elvis juice, which if they've gone off a year's shelf life, that's quite fresh for a supermarket craft beer.
4th of the 6th, 18 on the Elvis juice for me.
Okay. And then the Twisted Grapefruit, 31st of March 2018. So it's obviously been sitting around a bit. But you wouldn't think it because of that strength of flavour that's put in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely stuff. The Brewdog. I mean, both of them really, really nice because it's.
They're both good beers. But one is it extremely better or marginally better?
I'd say it's like an in between of those two. Well, actually, because if you say it's extremely better, then that implies that the Belhaven isn't really that good. Which it's a good, tasty grapefruit beer. If you like grapefruit flavour, if you like grapefruit flavourings in different products and like sweets and stuff, it's definitely got that sort of like Haribo sort of jelly sweet character to it. But I don't know. It's a tough one to actually really assess when you put all the things together. If you'd say it's vastly better or just a little bit better. I mean, it's far from like head to head. You know, it's not like the Brewdog just about won. It was a clear winner for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a tough one. But of course, a lot of people would see Greene King and they'd instantly say it's a shit beer.
Yeah.
Shit beer.
Yeah, crap beer. It's not a crap beer. Definitely not a crap beer. It's just slightly different to the Brewdog Elvis juice.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you were to give them a rating, what would you give them?
I would give Elvis juice a 9 out of 10,
Yeah.
and I would give Belhaven Twisted Grapefruit IPA. I would give that a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same as you, but I don't know. There's just something about the Elvis juice, and even though I've only drank a small handful of these sorts of beers, it's just a 10 out of 10 for me. There's just something about that beer. It ticks all the boxes because I like grapefruit, the flavor of grapefruit anyway. I like the simplicity of the beer itself. It's not trying to be anything different than what it actually is. It's just it's a good quality IPA, but they've just thrown a bunch of grapefruit in it, and I think they've got that perfect balance where it's not just a pure bitter bomb. And yeah, but the Belhaven, it is one that I would drink again, and I'd give that a 7 out of 10. But the Elvis juice, it's just I think it's the simplicity of it. That's probably what does it for me. And
a lot of Brewdog beers, they were sort of really well known for this simplicity, intensity, but very simple,
yeah,
in ingredients and whatnot. That's their best core beer.
yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But
we
that
looked into Dead Pony. We did that a while back, didn't we?
Yeah. But that could change if I get to try the Jet Black Heart in the cans.
Oh, Nitro. Yeah.
But yeah, as it stands, this is my favourite Brewdog beer. Full stop. And the fact that it's in the supermarket, I mean, it's even at the local corner shop for £1 more than what I'd pay in Asda, which I'd happily pay that £1 more, because I think for that price, and yes, it's a supermarket beer. I just can't fault it. Like I said, it just ticks all the boxes for me and what I want from a good, solid drinking beer. You can do videos like this with it, but at the same time, you can just sit back and just knock it back. And it's 6.5% as well.
It's the next generation of supermarket beers, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
And I'm happy with that. That's it's fine with me. Knowing that them sort of beers are readily available to the masses. I'm happy with that. It's quality, right up my street. That is all day long. I'm not going to go like that. It's good. It's good news, really. It's good news for everybody.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it's
great for the people who are trying to look for something new and a bit different, especially when the supermarkets do the deals and that sort of thing. Because I think the majority of people who are really into this sort of stuff now started by just not even really probably aiming to do it, but just like, oh, do you know what? I'm not going to get like the Fosters or the Carling this week. Yeah, it's a bit of a quiet weekend anyway. I'll just pick this, and this 4 for £6, put it in with the shopping, go home. Probably like 2 or 3 of them were like, it's not my thing. But then there's that one beer where like, oh, this is good. And then next time we're in the supermarket, I'll get another bottle of this because I enjoyed it. And then they start to like pick up the bottles, read them, and then you get like the definitions of each beer, like pale ale, IPA, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think there's a. I know the supermarkets get a lot of stick from some of the beer community because it's like, oh well, you never know if you're going to get a fresh beer. You never know if this beer that's filled in the supermarkets is a different recipe to the stuff that's available online or from the brewery directly.
Mm.
But I've yet to really have like a bad beer that's available in the supermarkets but also available elsewhere.
Mm.
And that the only time I have, it's because I didn't check what the best before date on the bottle was. So you know, oh, it's like a month before or a couple of months after the best before date. Yeah, it's all about. I think people have got to be a bit more aware when they're trying this before they start complaining about what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, I think the supermarkets have played a big part in getting people into being a little bit more like conscious of the alcohol that they drink, and you don't have to buy that like 20 pack of Stella for the weekend. You can get 8 bottles of different beers, and you're going to get just as much, if not more, enjoyment from that over the weekend than like the just the hangovers you get off some of these, even the lower ABV like lagers and stuff.
Mm.
I don't know. I'm all for this, and as a reviewer, I know that if I'm running out of videos, it's like, oh shit, I don't have to go, to the next town to go to the bottle shop, or I don't have to make that big online order where you buy more beers, so it works out cheaper. I could just go to the
market.
Yeah. And I've got.
There seems to be new stuff like sort of trickling in. We have these little waves and these little blasts of this new stuff coming onto the shelves. Embrace it. That's what I say. It's not everybody's going to dig it, but I think it's great. I do.
Yeah.
A lot of get people to drink good beer. Okay, you drink good beer. More people drink good beer. That little microbrewery has to start making more beer. You can't keep up. It needs someone to sort of take the load. They've got to make more beer. Tesco's come waving, we'll have your beer, stick them on our shelves. Morrison's, do the same.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that brewery's fucking wank. Nah, don't bother with it. You can't win, can you?
No, that's. I don't know. It's. I mean, I know all hobbies have their own sort of like politics and stuff, but I'd say it's a lot more noticeable with the beer stuff because you just so many like opinion pieces online and like these news articles and like people discussing stuff. It's like why are we even debating this? It's such a non-issue. Just enjoy the beers that you buy, and if you don't want to support a brewery, fair enough, but you don't have to make people feel like shit because they are supporting a certain brewery or buying a certain type of beer.
Yeah, it's true. Literally, people get crucified for showing their love for certain brewers. I don't get it.
No, I've never really understood that sort of behaviour. But so I'll read out the reviews and then I'll read the comments and then I think we can end it there. So, with the Elvis juice, Beer Advocate gives it a 3.97 out of 5 from 188 ratings. Rate Beer gives it 95 overall and 95 for the style out of 738 ratings. And then Untapped gives it a 3.85 out of 5 from 71,528 ratings. And then on the Twisted Grapefruit, Beer Advocate gives it a 3.61 out of 5 from 9 ratings. Rate Beer 34 overall, 12 for style from 56 ratings. And then Untapped 3.42 out of 5 from 5,253 ratings. So there's really not much in it on the big websites, and I tend to agree, but I'd still think that the Brewdog is it's not just Pip the Post. It's a clear winner to me. But both of them, I'd happily drink another can of the Belhaven in the future. Try it on cask or keg or however they serve it in the pubs.
But it might be a completely different experience, yeah.
Yeah. But the Brewdog, I mean, it's the Brewdog beer that I buy the most of, and probably the most regularly. And I hope that they keep this for as long as possible and don't dick around with the recipe, because I think they've got a winner there.
Bang on with the recipe. You don't need to mess about with that. That's spot on. Use your typical Brewdog magic and create a new jazzy name. Bang it on the cans. Job done.
Yeah. And it's one of those beers, because I don't know about you, but sometimes when I drink a beer, I sometimes think, oh, imagine if they did like an imperial strength version of this. But that would mean I'd be happy with a double IPA, double grapefruit IPA from Brewdog. Yeah, but I don't feel like they need to even alter this in any way, shape, or form. So I'll quickly read out the final comment. Yeah, it is. It's a wonderful beer. So Average Joe says, a little thin. Don't tell Paul that. Well, everything's thin to Paul. Scott Houston says, oh, for fuck's sake. Not too sure what that's in relation to, but hello, Scott. Mark says, completely agree. Belhaven one tastes like a regular golden pale ale. Not a bad thing. With some added grapefruit. I was expecting a more grapefruity taste. Quite dull, in my opinion. I see where you're coming from, but I wouldn't say it's a dull beer. I'd say it's just a little bit more. What's the word? Accented with its grapefruit flavour.
Yeah. It's more with that sweetness makes it, or it promotes that artificial grapefruitness that's in the beer.
Yeah.
That comes out a lot more. I don't know. Would you be able to pick that out if you were just doing a solo review of it? Probably not, because you've got nothing. We're doing a here and now with Elvis juice to bounce off, haven't you?
Yeah.
Because I know I've reviewed them both separately and enjoyed them both. But I'm thinking different because I've just done two side by sides. My opinions have slightly changed.
Yeah. And I think when I did my review of the Belhaven, I don't think I even picked out that it could be artificial until I read the back of the can. And then you take another sip, and it could be just with the fact that you've read it, but I do think it's quite noticeable. So Joe wrote, I've yet to try Elvis juice, but need to try it at some point. I haven't seen much Brewdog locally, which is weird with the new Columbus brewery being opened recently. I'm sure within the next few months, the distribution in America will be picking up quite considerably after they've had their sort of like breathing period.
Mm.
In fact, I'd be interested to see reviews of some of the stuff that's available in the bar that they've got, or as part of the big resort place.
Are they going to encounter the same problems that Stone had when they in Germany? Do you think?
They could potentially.
You know, 5 a.m. the US version and the Scottish version. Will there be a big
that's interesting.
Stone IPA?
Yeah, because I know that the place is opened up quite near to Rod, so I think he'd be our best bet to give us a rundown on what the American stuff is going to be like.
Interesting to see how that pans out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a success. I think it's it's too big to. I mean, but Stone Berlin's rarely become a big success now.
They've bedded down nicely now though, haven't they?
Yeah. To the point where I think Greg Koch is based in Berlin now, I think.
Right.
I think Greg Koch, is he the founder? One of the founders of Stone?
I've heard the name before, but I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't think he's really. I think Joe will be able to clear this up, but I don't think he's as hands-on as he was when he obviously first was part of Stone. I can never remember if he's one of the founders or not, but I think he does more. He still works for them, but I think he gave up his share of the company or something like that. But he's always doing videos from Berlin on the social media. But yeah, I think you're going to get teething problems from a brewery that's already established. If it was like a somewhat obscure brewery who decides that they're going to take the risk of going abroad, I think people would be quite a bit more lenient on them. But because it's Stone, we want the exact same beer as the one that you produce. And I don't think, you've got to be brewing for ages before you actually open at the new place for the beers to be good. But that would be pointless because you just have beer that's not being sold and just... Yeah, we've got all these cans, we've got these lines in the bar, but you can't drink it, so...
Yeah. How many thousands of litres of test run Stone session IPA, it's just a sheer waste, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I think Brewdog, they've got, the marketing, it's just so enough of the marketing, whether you like it or loathe it. They're masters at good sort of in-your-face propaganda, and I think they'll do really well over there.
Yeah.
I think the Americans will embrace them.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then you've got all of the potential collaborations that they'll be doing with the stateside brewers and all that's because I know they do the Collab Fest all around the world wherever they're based. I think they're doing it with the German brewery BRLO, if I'm not mistaken. Can't remember what they're doing. I think you can get a few of their beers in the UK. But I think Brewdog are just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where they will probably end up being non-craft anymore. But if they keep brewing good beers, then
Why not? Yeah, why not? They started off, you know, just plucking something random out of the air. Guinness. They started from nowhere, didn't they?
hmm
I mean, they were colossal giant mammoths of the brewing industry. But they started, maybe a couple of guys trotting about in a backyard or in a barn or whatever. And then you might have had a few guys chatting about Guinness, that they're in the local supermarket now. This isn't good,
Yeah.
It's growth, isn't it? People don't like growth for some strange reason.
Yeah.
Or they want you to sort of expand, but then there's like a cut-off point.
Yeah, there's a limit to what they accept.
Yeah. And I mean, James Watt, his type of attitude and how he is. All the time, it's never quite enough, is it? He just wants that a little bit more all the time.
He's always got to take it to that next step.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, fair play to him. I mean, I don't always agree with the direction that Brewdog go down, but they've still got that sort of I wouldn't really label them as punk. They've still got that sort of attitude to it where they're like in and amongst like the industry bigwigs, but they've still got that sort of like attitude to them. Well, on face value, they have.
Yeah,
God knows
rawness. Yeah.
God knows what like a Brewdog board meeting would look like. It's probably just as stale as most business meetings.
Yeah, just get it over and done with. Let's get back to brewing.
Yeah.
Because I know they're both still passionate about that, I think. That's still in them. That they're, I mean, they're wealthy guys now, aren't they?
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a few quid behind them, and fair play to them. But they're still quite humble about it. Behind all that hype and propaganda, they're normal guys, aren't they? If you strip all that away from them and you look at them, you can sort of suss them out a bit and think, well, you're normal guys still. You haven't really sort of been sucked up with the money and the glamour and the hype.
Yeah.
They portray that on some of their propaganda videos and whatnot.
I mean, if they were as bad as some people like to make out they wouldn't be involved with the company at all. They would have took the money and run.
Took the towel in years ago. Because I bet they've had no end of offers through their journey.
Oh God, yeah.
Mega money, and they've stuck their fingers up. Craft pride and all that, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, they could have took the towel in years ago.
Yeah, and they seem like the sort of people who would, if they got an offer, and like the company was like, "Oh, we'll fly you over to such and such for this meeting," they'd go, even knowing that they're not gonna accept whatever offer they're given, and they just go anyway.
Just yeah, almost.
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing. To be honest, is they're not as like humble or as small as people want them to be, but they're not completely soulless. If that makes sense, there's still, if they were, they wouldn't be bringing out new beers a lot. They'd just be right. We're just going to stick to this. Maybe one seasonal every few months. But would Cloudwater really do collaborations with them if they were as bad as some people say? I mean, people hold a brewery like Cloudwater to such high acclaim and esteem, and it's like, well, yeah, why would they decide to work with Brewdog if they didn't feel themselves that Brewdog was still a valuable
Well, that's like Cloudwater respectfully sort of bowing, saying, well, respect to Brewdog. They really got the ball rolling. We've done well out of it. They're like the forefront. They got it all going, didn't they? They got it all going. They opened the doorway to all these other breweries that just followed suit. So that's just a nice little respect collaboration there, isn't there?
Yeah. I think what works in Brewdog's favour is, and from what I've seen over the years, they've never been one of those sorts of breweries who are like, oh, we're just a humble local brewery. We're doing it for the people who live near us and around us. It's like, no, they want to make good, consistent beer. And yeah, Dead Pony is, to me, it's a shadow of what it used to be, and not just because of how much beer I've drank since my first experience and fallen in love with it. I mean, it was at one point my favourite Brewdog beer, but you drink it now and it's still a solid enough beer, but there's plenty of beers that I find superior to it available in the same supermarket shelves.
Is that though, do you think, because your palate is more switched on now?
I don't. It could be. It could very well be. It would be interesting actually to look back through really old reviews and buy those same bottles again. I mean, the first review that I did on the channel was the Greene King, the East Coast IPA.
Yeah.
I've not drank that since I did that review, so I'm really intrigued to give that a go. Yeah. Especially in its nitro form in the can.
Oh, it's fucking dismal, mate.
It just. I remember that review. It just sounded terrible.
Yeah.
But
not disgusting, just fucking empty, lifeless, creamy fucking nothingness.
Yeah, I've seen that 4-pack of cans on the shelf so many times. I'm like, if they did it individually, I'd give it a go. But
I did toy with the idea because obviously you're back in Blighty now. I did toy with the idea of sending you a can because I thought, how the hell am I going to get through this? But I just switched off and had it. Hot curries or something like that. So, something that's the food's gonna distract me more than the beer. And it was just a case of cooling the palate down after a hot curry or something like that. So I managed to polish them off in the end. But oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think that my palate has come a long way. It's natural when you're drinking so much beer that reviewers do.
Yeah.
I mean, even some of the greatest palates in the world, what they rarely enjoyed one year, they will probably think, oh, it's a bit stale the next year, because that's their job essentially. They're going all around the world to all of these events and festivals. They're getting hired by bars and breweries to be like a consultant thing. So, even the most modest of beer drinkers who don't necessarily review beers, but they're still like really invest in the hobby. It's just amazing how stuff changes. And I'd say that the Elvis juice is probably one of the few beers that I would consistently carry on drinking. And I know for a fact that 1, 2, 5 years time, I think Elvis juice would still probably be one of my most drank and enjoyed beers. And by the nature of what we do, you buy one beer, you say to yourself, oh, I'd like to try this again.
Yeah.
But are you really going to try it again? I don't know. It's a weird.
Well, just jumping three beers just off the top of my head that I buy the most on a regularish basis is Guinness. I like a drop of Guinness.
Yeah.
Elvis Juice and Gamma Ray. There might be a few others that I occasionally buy more than one of and go back to. But them three there spring to mind the most over the past, well, certainly this year and maybe at the back end of last year.
Yeah.
Love them beers.
Yeah, I just wish the Augustiner was a bit more widely available, because that is one I'd...
I bet you're shaking on it. You've got withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah, I am. God, having that one bottle from that I bought from Manchester, that was just, again, it's the simplicity of it. I think that's what I like with beers, is when they're just simple and enjoyable.
And it still delivers. It still puts a smile on your face. What were you getting? Was it €1 a bottle where you?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I would have filled a fucking suitcase, mate, when I was coming back.
Yeah, I'd have happily paid that extra 20 quid for an extra suitcase of just But yeah, I mean, at the price that I can get it, every now and then might get like 3 or 4 bottles, because I know it's not exactly going to go, lose too much flavour if I leave it for like a few months between drinking them. But at the same time, I mean, you can get stuff like Warsteiner in the supermarkets, and that's still a
solid,
bloody good lager.
Have you had Augustina Dunkel?
Yeah, I had it a couple of times. That's a good example of a Dunkel beer.
I've got a bottle of that to review. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's a very good beer. The only Augustina beer that I've not enjoyed was their wheat beer, and just because it was a wheat beer.
Yeah, you're not a wheat beer fan, are you?
Not really.
Nah.
There's got to be something added to it for me to enjoy it, because just a regular wheat beer on its own, I don't know, it's not really, it's, I can happily drink it and find positives, but it's just never a style that I've been, ooh, yeah, I'll have a couple of these. I don't know, there's just something about it. Yeah. So last few comments, well, quite a few comments, and I think we'll call it there. So Thomas McCarthy says, I only try Elvis Juice. It's nice, 6 out of 10. It wasn't fresh. I'd definitely say try it again fresh, or fresher.
Definitely put off by that.
Because I think that is definitely a beer that would be affected by it being an old can. Well, especially an old bottle. Then Craig writes, no Elvis Juice in the building. I'm sorry to hear that, Craig. I think I've got 2 left, so I'm going to enjoy those in a little bit.
I've got one more left.
Then we've got our friend Christoph from El Degustation. I think that you have to be honest to yourself and rate beer how you feel is accurate. Yep, could not agree more. And there are some people who sort of pander to the audience and to the breweries sometimes, without naming names, but you could sometimes tell that they're a little bit biased, if that makes sense. Then he writes, bought beers are good, but Brewdog has much more hype attached to it. I'd say so. To the point where they've even got like fan pages on Facebook and groups and stuff, which I think it's great to see. Another brewery that I've noticed has quite a big following are the Witchwood boys and girls.
Yes, that's got a hardcore gathering of people.
Oh god, yeah, all over the place. The amount of like posts I've seen on Facebook of people buying literally like 20 bottles of the Dunkelfester when they see it. It's probably why you sometimes don't find the seasonal beers at all, because someone's just like took that one,
Taking the whole lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
one package, which is fair enough, because I've had the Dunkelfester fairly recently. And I thought that was a damn good beer. That was a really, really nice beer.
Yeah, I think I've had that. Yeah, I think, yeah. Rings a bell.
In fact, I think the last three seasonals have been really good this year. That Pumpkin and what was it called with the maple one?
Ripsaw.
Ripsaw. I thought
Yeah.
they were really good beers.
Yeah. Going back to what you were saying earlier on about some of the Greene King beers being on the thin side, I find that with a few Richmond beers.
I find that more with the pale beers and like the golden ales and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I think yeah, I think they really do well when it comes to the darker beers. Because there's just a bit more there to them.
I've had a couple of Black Witch Porters. Some of them have been really exceptional, and then I've gone back to them and they've been dismal. So a bit of a fluctuation with consistent quality.
Yeah.
But it happens, doesn't it? It happens. It even happens to craft brewers, doesn't it? So you know, they can't shy away from that. The big boys have it, and the little boys have it as well.
Yeah. The comfort is when one of the bigger breweries does it. You've not paid that much to be disappointed. Yeah. I mean, especially with you and that Evil Twin beer.
Yeah.
You know, if that was to happen with like a Guinness milk stout,
a £1.50 supermarket beer,
you'd be a bit annoyed, but at the end of the day, you've only spent £1.50 on it. But one of these specialty beers, that's why I'm very wary of when you see these like farmhouse ales from America in like the big bomber cork and cage bottles for like £10 plus, and it's like, yeah, I'm sure it's going to be an exceptional beer, but I know there's like an 80% chance as soon as I get that cork off, I'm going to be swimming in that beer.
We had a similar situation like that when we did the bottle share, me, Craig, and Harry, with one of Craig's beers, which I don't think he opened. I think Harry still got it actually, because I don't know what it was. It was I don't think it was a Cantillon beer. No, I don't think it was. But he just knew from the start of the beer, it was as soon as he was going to pop that cork, it was going to gush. It was going to be a gusher, and we kept putting it off, and in the end, it never got opened. But yeah, you just explosion. It was just waiting to happen. But what that beer was now, I'm still watching. Time to drop a message on that. What that beer was. I know it was in a big bottle.
I think I remember him talking about that. Was it something like was it that like Mexican style stout or something like that?
We opened
chili. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Mexican cake thing. No, we opened. Oh, it was excellent beer. That was one of the beers of the day. That was. It was beautiful stuff. No, we had that in a bar when we went out and about. And this was back at Harry's house. This beer.
Oh yeah.
What was it?
I'm sure if he's watching, he'll let us know. On to more of the comments. So Rob from Hopscene. Hi Rob, hope you're doing well.
Yeah, Rob.
He says, talking of fruit beers, I'm on Cloudwater Pineapple Double IPA. That sounds good. Not the biggest fan of pineapple, but when it's in a beer, that flavour profile is spot on. He also wrote, it would be entertaining if the US Brewdog is better than the Scottish one. That would be funny. Then Joe writes, don't worry, I'll review I'll review all of the Brewdog offerings on my non-existent channel.
Yeah.
And then Rob writes, I don't understand why the quality of Stone Berlin isn't half as good as San Diego. Isn't any good reason? I don't know. I've not really had anything lately from Stone Berlin, so I can't really compare it. But I just put it down to like teething problems, and like I think even like the water quality would play a big part in that. I don't know, or because I don't know if they brought over one of the brewers from America, or they just hired a German one. So I'm not too sure. But
how long have you been going now in Berlin? It's well over a year now. It's got to be.
I think so. Yeah, it was either late last year, around September time. Yeah, I think it was last year, because I'm sure they did their 1 year celebration about a month or so ago.
We started getting their beers trickling in. Was it the beginning of this year or mid this year where we started getting their beers onto the supermarket shelves anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Roughly about that time. So just over a year, I'd say.
That's still early days then, isn't
it? Yeah. Then Christoph writes, yes, you are right. We expect some quality from the brand, like related to Brewdog. And then Rob writes, James Watt drove me to his house, made me stay in the car though. It's because you're northern, Rob. That's all it is. And then he wrote, I had a bottle of Cocoa Psycho earlier. Not had it in years, still world class.
That's a beer
Yet to try that. Although it's surprisingly cheap on the Brewdog website. I was looking it up yesterday when I was doing the stream with Craig, and I was like surprised. You get all these like £10 beers, and then that was like $3.50, $4.50 a can.
What's in cans now?
Yeah, I think Cocoa. Is that the right? Am I thinking of the right one? I don't
know.
I'll have a. I know Jet Blackheart is in Nitro now, but I'm sure they're putting Cocoa Site. I know, or was it something Tokyo? So I get confused with some of the bigger Brewdog beers.
I'll throw a picture on their
site.
Well, even if it's in bottle or can, it doesn't matter to me. But that's a good price. That is £3.50 for that.
Yeah. I'm sure that was the bit. It could be a completely different one, so you might want to ignore that. But I'll have a look after we've finished the stream, or if anybody in the chat can let us know. Then Christoph says, Dean, think about better framing. And he also goes on to write, supermarkets demand breweries to make sacrifices to meet their demand, which is something I could definitely see. But from the beers that people have said that's happened to, I've just not tried. You sort of like Vocation, beers like Pride and Joy and stuff like that. I know a lot of people have said there's a considerable difference even now between the cans you get in supermarkets and the ones that you get from like the brewery itself or bottle shops and websites. Then Rob says, only beer I buy with any level of regularity is Magic Rock Common Grounds, which is an absolutely gorgeous beer. I think Magic Rock have one of the best core ranges around, just for the sheer range of beers and the price.
Yeah, very cheap for what you get. You do get quality beer, don't you, for the price you pay for them and the core stuff.
Yeah. And then Craig clears up the mystery bottle issue, and that was the Eau de Gouze Cuvée Almond and the Gaston Brewery Free
Gaston, that's the one.
Fontainen. Terrible with those pronunciations.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. And then Harry still has it in the fridge. I had to run to catch the train. The other beer that we opened was 10 Commandments by Lost Abbey. The cork made a dent in the ceiling.
Yes.
And then...
Yeah.
And then Coco Psycho, £3.50 on their website in cans.
Might have a bit of that, actually.
Yeah. If
is it a fiver for that P&P? It is, isn't it? Or just
I think
over
so,
a
yeah.
fiver.
See,
which is pretty good.
I'm waiting for them to put the Jet Black Heart cans on the web store, because I'm not too sure how you get hold of them.
Oh, they're not available yet then?
I don't know, because I've seen posts of them, but I don't know if that's just like equity for punks people, or if you can just buy them from the bars themselves. But they're not on the websites. And the Coco Psycho's in bottles for £3.50, which, you know, you get a couple of those. Keep one for a while.
That's a beer. I definitely want to. I haven't had that. Oh God, it's going back a few years. Probably in the old label format. And I think I jumped the gun slightly when I was just getting into messing about with beers, and I come across Brewdog somehow. Would it more than likely Punk IPA was their first offering from them, and then having a Coco Psycho, and it sort of just at the time it was too much for me. That
yeah.
was just too much for me. I couldn't handle it. I'd love it to bits now. I'd appreciate it that little bit more. I'll look into that beer.
Yeah, I might have to, when I've got a little bit of extra money, do a little bit of a Brewdog order.
You have some good guest stuff on there and all.
Yeah. In fact, if I'm in Manchester over the next couple of weeks, might as well pop in, see if they've got anything. But, yeah, sorry about that interruption. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it here, because we actually ended up finishing talking about the beer quite a while ago. But if anybody wants to join, get in touch, because I might just stay online for a little bit, end the broadcast if you're going to stick around for a little bit, Dean.
Yeah,
I can't be on for too long.
No, I've got work in the morning, so I don't want to burn the candle at both ends, mate.
Okie dokie. So, yeah, if anybody wants to potentially pop on, get in touch. But, of course, the UK Beer Tuber guys will be sending a link in the group anyway. But, yeah, both beers, highly recommended from me.
Yeah.
Especially this. Just beautiful beer. And, yeah, so not too sure what we'll be doing for number 17, but I'm sure me and Dean will work something out. Maybe actually do the double chocolate stout, which we could have done, but I ended up drinking it.
I drank mine in the end as well. I didn't review it, I just drank it.
Yeah. I don't know. It happens.
We'll find a beer.
Yeah. I mean,
Greene King East Coast IPA, the normal one, not the nitro.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that then. You've heard it here first. So if anybody's interested in...
Have a Greene King sesh.
Exactly. Do a Greene King showcase.
Yeah, just back to back the whole fucking lot in one go.
Yeah. It's probably all the same beer, just ever so slightly different. Anyway, so got one last comment from L Degustation. Jet Black Heart is popular in Germany, at least amongst my friends. That was one that I could never get hold of in Germany, surprisingly. Because we did get a few of the Brewdog beers, but Jet Black Heart couldn't get hold of. But, you know, I can get it in the supermarkets now, so happy days. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching and for commenting. And of course, anybody watching this after it's been uploaded, any comments, opinions, what you think of these beers, always welcome. And of course, a big thank you to my good friend Dean for another live review. And yeah, being back in the UK, we can do these a little bit more regularly with beers that should be easy to get hold of. So yeah, check out Dean's channel and all that sort of information down below. Check out both breweries, and hopefully you'll join us next time for review number 17 for the Greene King East Coast IPA. All right, guys. See you later.